NHL All-Star Game is brought to you by Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Miller. And by Toyota, who invite you to see the new 1981 cars and trucks. Toyota, oh, what a feeling. And by TWA, the airline that speeds you through the airport like magic. TWA. Now the host of tonight's broadcast, Dan Kelly.
This is the city of the stars, Los Angeles. This is Hollywood and Vine, the main intersection in downtown Hollywood. There are theaters and there are stars. There's surfing and there's sun. There are the posh shops on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills and the famous palm trees. There's also the fabulous Forum. And that's where we are this evening, the site of the 33rd National Hockey League All-Star Game. Tonight, the stars of the Clarence Campbell Conference go against the stars of the Prince of Wales Conference. This is a game that the Prince of Wales Conference have dominated since its inception. They have won 5 games in 5 previous meetings. The young Campbell Conference stars hope to turn that trend around here this evening. Right now, I'd like you to meet 2 of the other people on our telecast this evening. The play-by-play voice of the Philadelphia Flyers, Gene Hart, and one of the great scorers in hockey history, recently retired from the New York Rangers, Phil Esposito.
Thank you, Dan Kelly. And Espo, first things first, may I, for all of us in hockey, congratulate and salute your remarkable career.
Well, thank you very much, Gene. I enjoyed playing for 18 years.
Espo, fresh on the heels of your retirement, tonight the National Hockey League presents the 2 youngest squads in All-Star history. And don't be envious, there isn't a player over 29. And now that you're gone and Howe's gone and Hull and Makita, I wonder if this is a prelude of a batch of new superstars for the 80s.
I think so. I think so, Gene. We have a lot of young guys out there, such as Beaupre, his first All-Star game. Actually, he's a junior, and he was going to be sent back to junior, but he played so well in camp that Nanny and the Stars had to keep him. And he's out there tonight. Bobby Smith, also from Minnesota North Stars. We have stars that are legitimate, I think, and guys like Bossy and Simmer and Brian Trottier, who's not playing because of an injury. But it's going to be an interesting hockey game, and I'm really looking forward to it.
We all are. And coming up next, we'll have pre-game ceremonies for the 33rd Annual National Hockey League All-Star Game from the Forum in Los Angeles. Gene Hart along with Dan Kelly and Phil Esposito at the Forum. And Phil, do the emotions for these players vary between the younger and older stars?
Well, right now they're nervous. There's no doubt about it. And I think a fellow like Beaupre would be very, very anxious right now to get in there. And then a guy like Gretzky, who I consider a premier player in this game right now, and only 19 years old, I'm sure he's even nervous. So you always get nervous before these games, Gene.
So that old chestnut, you just go through all-star motions, doesn't hold ice?
It doesn't at all. You do get nervous.
The teams have not made their appearance here at the fabulous Forum, where we're going to have some extraordinary ceremonies. On ice now, the All-Star Skatettes from the Ice Capade Shellettes, as we'll now go to our public address announcer.
The Clarence Campbell Conference. First of all, from the Calgary Flames, number 15, center Kent Nielsen. From the Chicago Blackhawks, number 6, defenseman Bob Murray. From the Colorado Rockies, number 4, defenseman Rob Ramage. From the Edmonton Oilers, number 99, center Wayne Gretzky. Stanley Cup champion, New York Islanders. Number 23, right winger, Mike Bossy. Number 14, left winger, Bob Bourne. Number 5, defenseman, Denny Potvin. Injured, but here with his conference team at the Campbell bench, Brian Trottier. From the New York Rangers, number 18, right winger, Eddie Johnstone. The Philadelphia Flyers, number 7, left winger, Bill Barber. Number 2, defenseman, Bob Daly. Number 17, right winger, Paul Holmgren. Number 33, the goaltender, Pete Peters. Number 3, defenseman, Ben Wilson. From the St. Louis Blues, number 10, right winger, Wayne Babbage. Number 24, the center, Bernie Federko. Number 1, goaltender, Mike Liu. From the Vancouver Canucks, number 25, defenseman Kevin McCarthy. Number 22, left winger Dave Tiger Williams. From the Washington Capitals, number 11, right winger Mike Gartner. From the Winnipeg Jets, number 12, left winger Morris Lukowicz. The coach of the Clarence Campbell Conference, from the Philadelphia Flyers, Pat Quinn. And the trainers from the St. Louis Blues, Tom Woodcock and Peter Millar from the Edmonton Oilers. Ladies and gentlemen, the Clarence Campbell Conference All-Stars. Now let's meet the stars of the Prince of Wales Conference. First, from the Boston Bruins, number 7, defenseman Raymond Bourque. Number 12, right winger Rick Middleton. From the Buffalo Sabres, number 20, right winger Danny Gare. From the Detroit Red Wings, number 28, defenseman Reed Larson. Number 27, left winger John O'Grodnick. From the Hartford Whalers, number 5, defenseman Mark Hall. Number 27, center Mike Rogers. From the Minnesota North Stars, number 33, goaltender Don Beaupre. Number 15, a center Bobby Smith. From the Montreal Canadiens, number 23, left winger Bob Gainey. Number 2, defenseman Rod Langway. Number 22, left winger Steve Shutt. From the Pittsburgh Penguins, number 25, defenseman Randy Carlyle. Number 14, right winger Rick Keogh. From the Quebec Nordiques, number 26, center Peter Stastny. From the Toronto Maple Leafs, number 4, defenseman Robert Picard. From the Los Angeles Kings, number 1, goaltender Mario Lazar. Hockey's greatest scoring line, your Triple Crown line, number 11, Charlie Simmer. Number 18, Dave Taylor. And number 16, Marcel Dion. the coach of the Prince of Wales Conference from the Buffalo Sabres, Scott Bowman. And the trainers from the Los Angeles Kings, Peter Demers and John Holmes. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm West Coast welcome for the stars of the National Hockey League 1981. And now, the national anthems of Canada and the United States as sung by Frank Mahoney and Connie Stevens. And now, ladies and gentlemen, before the start of the 33rd All-Star Game, may we direct your attention to center ice for our ceremonial face-off. Featuring a great hockey fan and an American tradition, the creator of many lovable cartoon characters, as Snoopy and Charlie Brown, and the winner of this year's Lester Patrick Award, a great friend of the National Hockey League, Mr. Charles Schultz. Assisting Mr. Schultz, the honorary captains of tonight's game, Marcel Dion from the Wales Conference and Captain Bill Barber from the Campbell Conference.
We have had the opening ceremonies. The national anthem. We're just about ready for the hockey action from the Forum in Los Angeles. This is the National Hockey League All-Star Network. With Gene Hart and Phil Esposito, Dan Kelly speaking. We're back at the Forum in Inglewood, California. The 33rd National Hockey League All-Star Game. There you see the officials for tonight's game, the two linesmen, Jim Christensen and Gerard Gauthier. And on the far right, the man in charge of this game, the referee, Brian Lewis.
Our goalers tonight, the story of the year, a 19-year-older who was just given a whack at the beginning of the season by the North Stars and now has become a National Hockey League All-Star. 19-year-old Don Beaupre, 12-8-8 his record for the regular season with a 3.04 goals against record, and what a dream this must be for him. And they call it the St. Louis Blues. Mike Liu, 24-year-older, 23-8-7 with the Blues, 3.18 goals against record with no shutouts this year, just coming back off an injury, playing 2 games, the starting goalers tonight.
And we are set for the opening face-off as Brian Lewis will drop the puck between Kent Nilsson of the Campbell Conference and the People's Choice here in Los Angeles. Marcel Dion immediately into the Campbell end of the rink. Dennis Potvin is there to get it. Over on the right wing boards, and the Campbell Conference Ramage shot it ahead to Nilsson. He's checked from behind, and Dion, number 16, to Taylor, number 18. Taylor taken out of the play by Potvin. Kent Nilsson trying to clear it on the boards. Gets help from Potvin, and now Bill Barber. And the Campbells just got it out of the zone. Shot immediately back in by the Prince of Wales Conference. And it is offside at the Campbell Conference blue line. The orange jerseys of the Campbell Conference as we look at Mike Leote and the white jerseys of the Wales Conference.
Well, we had a unique occurrence in the introductions. For the first time, 3 players introduced as a unit. The Triple Crown line of Taylor, Simmer, Dion, and it worked. It was beautiful.
And they are out there right now. Here's Ramage for the Campbell Conference to Barber, number 7, Bill Barber, into the Wales zone, tried to drag it through, got it in front, Kent Nilsson, shoot, they score! Barber, I believe, deflected in. Nilsson shot. Holmgren was in front of the net as well. Nilsson let it go. It was tipped in, and I think it was Barber.
Well, I think you're going to see here, Barber comes through, and he makes a great pass over here. Nilsson, I think, gets the goal. I don't think Barber touched the puck, Dan. I think Nilsson, there's a better view of it here. He just slides it. He makes a great play here. He may have touched it. No, Nilsson got it.
It is Nilsson's goal. Barber didn't touch it. Barber and Holmgren get assists, and it's 1-0 for the Campbell Conference. Here they are on the attack again. Johnstone to Bernie Federico, number 24. Got it in behind the goal. Wales Conference try and work it out of there. And held in by Wayne Babbitt. Shoots one, and he missed by a couple of feet. Bounces out to center ice. Campbell Conference in possession at their own line. Ben Wilson into the center ice area for Johnstone. Now over to Kevin McCarthy, ahead on right wing to Babbitt. But broken up there by Bork for the Wales and shot to center. Now they fire one in as Kehoe shoots it in. Liute out of the goal to grab it. And he held onto it, and the faceoff will be in the Campbell zone.
Well, Kent Nilsson certainly a scorer, Phil. 28 goals, 55 assists already, 83 points this year, and he is the only Swedish national represented in tonight's 2 squads.
He's a very smart hockey player. He sort of puts that puck in there real nice. That was a beautiful play.
Campbell Conference, of course, composed of the Smythe and the Patrick division. The Wales Conference, the 10 teams from the Adams and Norris division.
Now the Campbells try and work it out of their own end of the rink, get it outside the line. Bob Geeney breaks the play up. Now picking it up is Mike Bossy, got it into the Wales zone, and Carlisle, number 25 for the Wales Conference, Tried to shoot it out. Gets it to Rogers. Over onto the right wing side there, and it's picked up by Gare. Flipped it into the zone, but back comes Gretzky for the Campbell. Gretzky shooting one in. Digging in on the far side is Tiger Williams. Got it behind the net, but Carlisle shoots it out on left wing for Gainey. Bob Gainey of the Montreal Canadiens over on the right wing boards for Picard. Broken up, and back comes Gretzky. In across the line. Intercepted, and the Whales take over. Mike Rogers shot it around in the boards, now picked up by Carlisle. Carlisle at center ice for Rogers. He's checked. Now a loose puck in the center ice zone. Langway for the Whales. Tried to shoot it in. Gretzky knocks it down. Number 99, Wayne Gretzky. Dumping one in. Rod Langway, number 2, back to get it for the Whales. Played it out on the left wing board. And back comes Agrodnik, number 27, ahead for Rick Middleton. He's checked at the blue line. Now Agrodnik trying to battle back in. Here's Langway for the Whales. He flips it in. Bobby Smith digging in after it. Ramage back for the Campbells. They jam up in the corner. Also Bob Bourne in there. Now it's Middleton centered, and fanning on it in front of the net was Agrodnik. Back come the Campbells on the attack with Mike Gartner shooting wide. Over on the other wing, Dennis Potvin pinched in, couldn't hold it in, and Bobby Smith, number 15 for the Whales. He's into the Campbell into the rink all by himself. Bourne breaking it up there. Now Smith and Bourne jam up. Here's Middleton trying to flip it in front. Puck still loose. Smith did center, but intercepted, and back comes the Campbell Conference, led by Lukowicz. Now broken up, and Simmer passes to Middleton. Wales Conference in possession. Middleton in on right wing. There's the shot nowhere near the Campbell goal. Langway shooting, and that deflects off a skate wide of the net. Back comes Lukowicz. Got it to center ice. Broken up there. Wales on the attack with Simmer, number 11. Simmer tried to drop it back, picks it up himself. Simmer's shot is off his skate. And Barber comes out of the Campbell end of the rink with control of the puck. Trying to flip it through, does. Nilsson right in. Shoots, and he shot it wide as Langway cut him up. Nilsson almost scored again. There's Langway. Fires one out on right wing. Wales Conference, Taylor shooting it in. Simmer digs into the corner. Couldn't get control. Now Nilsson cleared it, knocked down. There's a chance for the Wales. Big save on the low shot by Mark Howe. And back comes Ben Wilson. Here's Barber breaking in on left wing. Shoots! Forks the play off the top of the goal. And a big save by Cotra in the goal. He got a piece of it. And up over top of the net. Now Forks to center ice. Now in on left wing. Trying to go around Bob Daly with that long reach, and he poked it out. Centered, and Federico for the Campbells clears it to center ice. Mark Howe firing one ahead for Steve Shutt. He's checked. Now picked up and on the attack, the Wales Conference with Stosny. Couldn't get the shot away. Back comes Babbitt, number 10. Babbitt shoots one, missed by 3 or 4 feet. Over on the other wing, Johnstone centering one. Tries to get it to Babbitt. Carlisle and Babbitt jam up in the corner. Now Steve Shutt trying to get it out. Daly held it in. His shot is blocked, and it bounces all the way back near the blue line with Bob Murray back to pick it up to Babbitt. Babbitt to Johnstone, number 18. Tied up by Picard. And Johnstone has to backtrack to center. 1-0 for the Campbell Conference. They control the puck right now. Here's Shutt at center ice. Flipping one. Broken up by Babbitt. Now cleared, and here's Picard for the Whales. Trying to set up Stosny. Intercepted by Daly, and here's Federico, number 24. To Babbitt. Back to Federico. Big save by Beaupre on Federico's deflection. Now into the corner. Johnstone and Federico are tied up there, and it's held. And the faceoff will be in the Wales into the rink. With the score, the Campbell Conference 1, the Wales nothing. This is the 33rd annual NHL All-Star Game. Play underway. Reed Larson for the Wales Conference. Got it to center ice. Picked up there by Danny Gare. He fired it in, but back is Ramage for the Campbell Conference. He's number 4. Ramage checked by Gare. Now picked up on the far side, and Tiger Williams feeds to Bossy into Williams. Williams gets it in behind the Wales goal. Back is Larson. He's checked. Now Gretzky centering one. Back to Ramage to drive. And Beaupre just seemed to get a stick on it. Wales try and work it out. Here's Gainey. Dropping one to Gare on right wing. Gare trying to cut in, but Ramage is there to break it up. Showed it back into the center ice area. Larson dropping it to Langley. Back to Reed Larson. Now he flips one ahead. And back is Dennis Potvin, number 5 for the Campbell Conference. Campbell Conference leading 1-0. Here's Gretzky. There's Middleton on a break. Right in. Backhander, and he shot it wide. As Middleton walked in alone. Now another chance, and Middleton shoots it wide. Now back to the right point for Mark Howe with a shot. And Liut makes the save on a shot that I think was going to be wide anyway.
Bill, the worst trade your ex-New York Rangers ever made. Rick Middleton for Ken Hodge, and he's been a brilliant performer these past 5 years with Boston.
Ricky is a great hockey player. He's got a lot of ability. He was a first-round draft choice way back when, but I was there, and the trade had to be made.
Now here's Ben Wilson for the Campbell Conference. They're leading in the game 1-0. Wilson, number 3, trying to flip it out of there. Gets it on the left wing boards, and it's shot into the center ice area. Now the Wales. Howe tried to carry it. Here's Bork, number 7. Over on left wing for Grodnick. Got it into the Campbell end of the rink, and Wilson takes over. Checked in behind the goal. Centered by the Wales. Liut cleared it away. Now Bork at the point. Holding it in. Flipping it into the corner. It is centered. Grodnick spun around. We're going to have a penalty here against Bourne, I believe. Now Liut picks it up. Wales center it again, and it's back of the goal. And now Bourne ties up with Middleton. And now the penalty against the Campbell, I believe, against Bob Bourne. There is 12 minutes, 13 seconds left in the first period with the score. The Campbell Conference 1, the Wales 0.
First penalty of the game, 7:47, as Bob Bourne was hooking in the corner against Detroit's Don O'Brodnick, representing the Wales Conference. Power play coming up for the Wales. They trail it 1-0. A goal at 45 seconds by the Campbell Conference's Kent Nielsen from Bill Barber and Paul Holmgren.
Power play chance for the Wales Conference. The Triple Crown line up front. Held in. Now Bob Daly flips it to Barber. Barber and Johnstone are the penalty killers. Here's Johnstone, breaks around the defense, cuts in on goal, and fakes himself back. Barber scores! Barber on a centering pass by Johnstone, and the Campbell Conference come up with a short-handed goal. Something, Gene Hart, you've seen Bill Barber do many a time.
Wonderful hockey player, but your Eddie Johnston was the most popular choice from the New York Ranger organization, and he pays off.
He made a great play there. Eddie's been killing penalties for us last month and doing well. Look at this. Makes a great play. Beaupre makes actually a good play, and just shoots the puck out, bounces off Barber's leg and goes in.
So the short-handed goal gives the Campbell Conference a 2-0 lead. Puck back in the Wales end of the rink. They have the man advantage. Dion and Picard bump into each other. Now Dion to Picard. Over on right wing for Reed Larson. Shot at the center to Dion. Dion stick handling through. Into the corner for Dave Taylor. Around on the boards to Simmer in the corner. But broken up in Johnstone. Headmans it to Barber, number 7. Barber's long shot, and Beaupre handles that. Reed Larson, number 28 for the Wales Conference on the far to Dion. Marcel Dion, number 16. Dion fires it in behind the goal to Simmer. Simmer, number 11, tied up by Dennis Potvin. A big jam up in the corner. Over comes Babbitt for the Campbell Conference. And Babbitt picks it open and cleared it down the ice. 47 seconds left in the Campbell Conference penalty to Bourne. Wales Conference. Here's Stosny. Into the Campbell, into the rink, dropping one back to Steve. Shot that deflects wide. Dennis Potvin for the Campbell. And center to Federico. Bork intercepting. Number 7 for the Wales. Bork of the Boston Bruins. Great power play man. Centered. Shot goes wide on a good setup by Bork. And it was shot wide of the goal by Rick Kehoe. Now, Federico almost broke away, but Bork gets back for the Wales. 12 seconds left in the penalty. Here's Howe over to Bork. Bork to center ice, in on right wing. Working in. There's a chance by Stosny. Liut the save on a close-in try on the right side. And Liut held the post and made the save.
Stosny, one of a pair of Czech brothers who were spirited over this year, as Billy Barber in the penalty box in his fourth, or in the players' bench, his fourth All-Star game, Phil. And you know Bill Barber has everything about him that's good. Perhaps the only thing that's a flaw is his lack of color.
Well, he's just that type of player, but he is a true All-Star. There's no doubt about it in my mind. But I was just wondering, you know, I can see why St. Louis is doing so well. Liut is a good goaltender. He is a stand-up goalie, and he makes saves extremely well. He plays the angles really well.
Here is Liut from the face-off, setting it up. Now the penalized player, Bourne, is back on. And Gretzky tried to set up Bourne, but it comes to center ice. And Langley has it there. Fires it back into the Campbell end of the rink. Going back is Ben Wilson. As soon as he touches it, an icing call against the Wales Conference. And a face-off will be back in the Wales end of the rink. There is 10 minutes left in the first period, but the score, the Campbells 2, the Wales nothing.
Billy Barber, he has 320 career goals. He was an all-star twice. He's had 30 goals in 8 of his 9 seasons. This year, 37 goals, 32 assists for 69 points to lead the Philadelphia Flyers in goals and points.
And he has a big short-handed goal here this evening. Now the Wales try and clear it to the Campbell end of the rink. They do. Shot back into the center ice area by Kevin McCarthy. Picked up there by Bossy. Tried to get it in, but broken up by Rogers, who shot at the center. Now Wilson over on left wing as the Campbells slip one in. Here's Bossy to the corner. Bossy tied up by Gainey on the play. Now Carlisle into the center ice area. Going to be a penalty coming up here as a drive is right on, and Liut makes the save on the shot by Danny Gare. Now a shot by Rogers, shot by Liut. And now a penalty coming up. And it will be against Tiger Williams of the Campbell Conference. From the Forum in Los Angeles, this is the National Hockey League All-Star Network.
For holding at 10:37.
Well, it seemed like kind of a silly penalty to call at an All-Star game, but Campbell Conference going to have to get a goal here.
Puck is slid into the center ice area. Howe has it there to Larson. Back to number 5, Mark Howe. Firing one in. Going back is now Bork into the corner for the Wales Conference, trying to get it loose. They drop it back to the point. Larson shot right on Liut to save. Here's Bobby Smith, number 15, to Middleton. Middleton back to Smith on the board. Smith trying to center one. Broken up by Barber and Daly. Number 2 for the Campbell. Shot at the center ice to Johnstone. He's checked. Tied up on the boards. Now Daly coming up with it. Campbells are short-handed as they give it to Bob Murray, who fires it into the Wales end of the rink. Mark Howe, number 5 from the Hartford Whalers, to Bobby Smith. Now to Middleton. Rick Middleton. Holding on to the puck, tries to center one, almost did. Pop back, cleared it away. Now Middleton again. Wide open. Couldn't control it. Larson a draw. That's the flex. Liut the save. Bobby Smith a shot in. That was stopped by Ramage. Here's Smith in front. Liut a save, and he grabbed the rebound. And held on to it, and rather spectacular goaltending by Mike Liut.
He is really hot in there right now. Gino, well, Danny, you watched him all year. I could tell that there's no wonder why. Watch this play here. He's in the goal, and he makes the save. Here's the one that I like. He catches this puck. He loses sight of it, bounces up. Watch this. He has his eye on that puck the whole time.
That play by Bobby Smith of the North Stars, who was the first overall player selected in the 78 draft and was the Calder Trophy winner that same season as Rookie of the Year.
There's a face-off as they get it to Langley at the left point. Wales on the power play. There's a shot tipped wide by Stosny. Now over on the other wing, Bossy couldn't get it up. Wales holding it in. Here's Steve's shot. Left by Bossy, who shoots it down the ice. And Beaupre, the goaltender, sets it up for Langley. Wales on the power play as they circle back, and here's Dion, who's out as the point man, to Langley. Now they work it on the right side for Kehoe. Drops it to Dion to Schutt. Schutt for the shot. Blocked by Ramage. Now a rebound, and Stosny took a poke at it, but Liut grabbed it before he could really get a stick up.
Odd combination, Steve Schutt, whose best year with the Montreal Canadiens came in 76, a 60-goal scorer, and was the number 1 Montreal pick and the 4th player overall selected in the 1972 draft.
There he is there. I know the Wales Conference, they seem to be coming back. I know they have a power play right now, but they, even before that shorthanded goal by the Campbell Conference, they seem to have more pressure on Liut and the boys from the Campbell Conference. It's going to be interesting the rest of the way.
2 goals for the Campbells by Nilsson and Barber to make it 2-0. Now a loose puck in the center ice area. Gartner couldn't get it, and Gainey has it for the Wales. Gainey moving in, lets a shot go. Liut makes the save on that. Fired it behind the net. Gainey is there for the Wales. Penalized player Williams back on. Puck centered, and Dave Tiger Williams, number 22, feeds Gretzky, number 99. Gretzky moving in front of the goal, and the pass was fanned on by Kevin McCarthy. Now Bork for the Whales. Shoots one into the center ice area, tipped down by Danny Gare. Then Wilson back for the Campbell Conference. Over on the left wing boards, it comes to center ice. Mark Howe had it there. He's checked. Here's a lead pass on right wing for Gartner. Trying to center one. Broken up, and back comes Keeney to Rogers. Rogers with Gare on his right, trying to go to the left side, and Morris Lukowicz intercepts. Campbell Conference. Then Wilson with a lead pass on left wing to Lukowicz, who just directs it down into the Whales' end of the rink. Now the Whales on the attack. Come back led by Bobby Smith. In for Middleton, centering one. Intercepted by Daly. And Daly passes to Gartner on right wing. Over on the left wing side for Morris Lukowicz. Picard took him out of the play. Robert Picard, number 4. Lead pass for Brodnick. The Ute hesitates, then comes out of the goal. Stick handles around and flipped it on the right wing board. And back come the Campbells. On the attack is Kent Nielsen. His pass on the right side intended for Holmgren. Now, Barber comes in to help up, but the Whales come up with it, and Picard gives it to Carlisle. Just under 6 minutes left in the first period. Puck at center ice. Now stolen by Carlisle. A great playmaker to Middleton. Back to Carlisle. Randy Carlisle drops it to Picard, who couldn't control it. And Holmgren races over onto the far side, but Simmer drops it back to Carlisle. Randy Carlisle slipping one into the Campbell end of the ring. And going back and getting it is Murray. And as soon as he touches it, icing himself against the Whales country. 2-0 here for the Campbell Conference.
Charlie Simmer, a forgotten soul, a draft pick of the Oakland Seals to Cleveland, never made it there, and he's become a star with Los Angeles. 50 goals this season.
Now here's Taylor dumping one in for the Whales. Leyute out of the goal to clear it, and Rob Ramage, number 4 for the Campbells. The number 10, Babbitt, to Federico, number 24. Drops it to Johnstone. Into the corner for Federico. Langway tying him up. Now Reed Larson shoots it around on the board. Here's Babbitt digging in with Simmer on the boards. Johnstone drops it to Potvin with a shot just wide. Here's Federico, number 24. Trying to hold it in, but cleared into the center ice area. Now Simmer picking it up there for Dion, but intercepted by Federico. Federico and Simmer battle for it on the board. Federico trying to drop it back, broken up by Simmer to Dion. A drive, Leyute the save. Rebound, Simmer is stopped by Leyute. And back comes Federico for the Campbell Conference. Another key save by Leyute. Here's Dion, number 16. Marcel Dion working one in on right wing. Trying to stick handle through, but cleared back out by the Campbell Conference's Johnstone. Here's Larson flipping one in. Leyute lets it go back to the goal. Here's Kevin McCarthy. Over on the left wing side to Williams. To Gretzky at center. Howe breaks that up. Now Williams got it into the zone. Howe intercepting to Bork. To Steve Shutt. Tipped it to center. And Williams for the Campbell Conference takes over. Here's Ben Wilson, number 3, moving right in. Shoots it. He went up high and went off the glass. Shutt got at the center for the Wales Conference. Campbell Conference, Ben Wilson. They lead the game 2-0. Wilson stick handling in the center ice area. Here's Ben Wilson of the Philadelphia Flyers into Gretzky. Drops it back. Crosby with a wrist shot. Just wide. Now Williams in the corner. Trying to center one. Broken up by Howe. And now taken over by the Whales. And out of their zone they come, led by Rick Kehoe. Lead pass to Shutt. Shutt back to Bork. A shot. Leyute stopped that. Now Kehoe with a shot. And Leyute kicked that one out. It was in behind him. And he kicked it out. And then waved off. No goal. Here comes Bossy. Trying to center it through. Now it comes to Daly at the point. Shoots one. Save made by Beaupre. And back come the Whales, who have dominated the game but can't get it behind Leyute. They try and move in. Larson was checked, and Bob Daly flips it to Bourne at center. Now picked up there by Gartner. Gartner with a lead pass ahead to Lukowicz. He's to the corner trying to center one. Now Bourne in control. Does center. Gartner a shot. Blocked by Carlisle. And the Whales come back. Number 23 is Gainey. Gainey shoots one, and a rising drive that goes up over the glass.
I'm breathing hard, Phil Esposito. A remarkable up-and-down first period that has to thrill everybody here and all those watching.
It's been a wide-open game so far, and what an all-star game should be. Really, I think a lot of skating, a lot of... Watch a save. He loses his puck in his glove. It drops behind. We can't tell whether it's in or not, but look how he kicks it out.
Excellent signals no goal.
That's right. Excellent reflexes.
2-0. Here's the quick shot. Liut grabs that. And coming up with it and in control. Now Gainey breaks one up and tried to center it to Gare. Intercepted in the Campbell's lead pass to Gartner, number 11 at center. But Carlisle is back for the Whales. To number 23, Gainey. Now to Robert Picard. Into Rogers, dropping one back with a shot deflected. And a save by Liut while flat on the ice on Mike Rogers. As Rogers got a gift shot and Liut flat on the ice, made the save. Now into the Wales end of the rink it goes. Here's Picard. De Gea on right wing. That's broken up. Here's Nilsson trying to center one into the corner to Lukowicz. Broken up. Gare couldn't get it out. Kent Nilsson drops it to Potvin in behind the goal to Lukowicz. There's Forrest Lukowicz behind the net to Nilsson, but Carlisle had him out of the play. And Gare has it for the Whales. To Bob Gainey. Gainey at center ice over on the right wing side to Rogers, and the puck goes up over the glass and into the crowd. 2-0 for the Campbell Conference from the Forum in Los Angeles. This is the National Hockey League All-Star Network. Wales Conference have outshot the Campbells 18-7, but the Campbells lead the game 2-0. Here's Dennis Potvin off the middle for Kent Nilsson to Bill Barber, number 7. Barber got it in across the line, broken up by a Grodnik and shot back out. Now here's Potvin over to Holmgren. Holmgren shot, and Beaupre steers that to the corner. Reed Larson loses control. Campbell's Nilsson dropping it back, less than a minute to play in the period. And Ramage at center ice tried to set up Barber. Now Langway flips it near the Campbell line. Here's number 7, Bill Barber. Dumping one in. Paul Holmgren going in after it. Langway there to try and shoot it out. Now held in by Ramage to Barber. Shoots. Beaupre. Skate save. And then Langway cleared the rebound to center ice. Here's Ramage to Potvin. Dennis Potvin, number 5. To Bill Barber. Intercepted. Bob Smith couldn't get it into the Whale zone. And here's Barber flipping a long one down with 20 seconds left. Beaupre leaving it for Reed Larson. Now cleared it to the corner. Number 15 is Bobby Smith. Bobby Smith of the Minnesota North Stars flipping it in. Johnstone back for the Campbell Conference. Johnstone leaving it there for Ben Wilson. Just 5 seconds left. To Babich, number 10, with a long shot that is wide of the goal. And the first period comes to an end with the Wales Conference dominating play, out shooting the Campbell Conference 18-8. But the Campbells leading in the game 2-0. The score after the first period we gave you. Gene Hart has a look at the history of the NHL All-Star Game coming up next.
By a quirk of fate, the first 3 NHL All-Star games were spawned as the aftermath of tragedy or near tragedy, as in the case of the premiere game in 1934. The career of Maple Leaf star left wing Ace Bailey was ended the season before with a skull fracture from a check thrown by Boston's Eddie Shore. A benefit game was held for Bailey in Toronto, and the bad blood between the two ended in a handshake. The Leafs of 34 met the stars of the other 7 teams, including the now-defunct New York Americans and Montreal Maroons, and on the strong play of this man, Charlie Conacher, the Leafs won 7-3. Ted Lindsay of Detroit and Montreal's Maurice Rocket Richard were 2 of hockey's best in 47, the year of the first annual All-Star Game at Toronto. At that time, the game was played prior to the season on the home ice of the Stars' opponent, the previous year's Stanley Cup champions. No Notice the dark ice. Painting it white didn't come until 2 years later. Even the face-off circles were smaller as coaches Hap Day of Toronto and Dick Irvin of the All-Stars met and the game began. Chicago's Max Bentley brought the Stars to within 1 goal in the second period just before his teammate Bill Mosienko was taken from the ice with a broken ankle that would sideline him half the season. With the score tied at 3 in the third, Richard set up Chicago's Doug Bentley with the All-Star winning goal. In 1951 at Toronto, the opponents were 2 All-Star teams, a practice which would last for 2 years. And Gordie Howe, just commencing the 6th year of his 32-year pro career. Other stars of the 50s included goaler Terry Sawchuk, who whitewashed the opponent a record NHL 103 times in 15 years. Center Sid Abel, who fed Lindsay and Howe on the Red Wings' incomparable production line. And defenseman Red Kelly, the versatile 20-year man who won the Lady Byng Trophy 4 times. Early in the first period, Boston's Milt Smith and Ted Lindsay did the muscling and got the puck to Howe in the slot for the opening goal. But midway in the third, with the first All-Star team leading 2-1, Montreal's Todd Sloan tied it up. The game ending 2-all, with one unusual note in the normally peaceful All-Star series. The 2 men you see here, Howe and Richard, were involved in one of the game's 2 fights. Lindsay and Toronto's Ted Kennedy also pairing off. By the time the phenomenal Bobby Orr started skating in his first All-Star game at Toronto in 1968, there had been considerable change. The NHL had doubled to 12 teams. The All-Star game had been shifted to mid-season, and 1968 was the last year the All-Stars would play the Stanley Cup champs. Now, Orr wasn't the only prominent defenseman of the 60s. There was Chicago's incomparable Pierre Pilote and the New York Rangers Norris Trophy winner Harry Howell. Who can forget smooth skating Jean Beliveau, the inspiration and character of the Montreal Canadiens, and his coach, Toe Blake, the man who guided the Habs to 8 Stanley Cup titles. That 23rd All-Star game was won by Toronto's Ron Ellis, who bounced one in off St. Louis Blues goaler Glenn Hall. As we moved into the 1970s, there were incredible performances. Phil Esposito, 76 goals, 152 points in one season. The Golden Jet became the Winnipeg Jet, as his teammate Stan Mikita stayed for 21 seasons in Chicago. The Hart of the Philadelphia Flyers, Bobby Clarke. The Baker, Hovelich of Montreal. As we turn to the 26th All-Star game in 1973 at New York, when Pittsburgh's Greg Politz, whose wife had presented him with their first child earlier in the day, notched 2 goals, though his West team lost 5-4. For Greg, a baby, 2 goals, and an MVP car. There were many more stars like Montreal's Guy Lafleur, power play powerhouse Brad Clark, and the only active player to score 6 goals in one game, Toronto's Darryl Sittler. Perennial high-scoring center Marcel Dion, and goaler Rogie Vachon, who had a hand in 3 Stanley Cup championships while with the Montreal Canadiens. And the Flyers' memorable Bernie Parent, who averaged less than 2 goals a game, playing 73 of 78 games one season. Then there is Chicago's Tony Esposito, Montreal's Larry Robinson, and Boston's Ray Bourque, selected to the NHL's honorary All-Star team in June, along with the right wing, Guy Lafleur for the 6th straight year, newcomer Charlie Simmer on the left side, and teammate Marcel Dion at center. Through 6 decades, these are some of our very best. This is Gene Hart, and we'll be back with analysis of the first period in just a moment. From the Forum in Los Angeles, this is the National Hockey League All-Star Network. Back at the Los Angeles Forum, Gene Hart along with Phil Esposito and Dan Kelly. And Phil, in that first period, the Campbell Conference had both penalties, they had both goals, but the Wales Conference had most of the shots 18-8.
Well, when you get the goaltending, the kind of goaltending that they're getting now, the Campbell Conference and Liut, it's hard to penetrate that. Liut knows he's got a period and a half, and he's playing extremely well. I mean, if you had to pick an MVP right now, it would be between, I think, Liut and Billy Barber, because Billy Barber had a heck of a first period.
Now, Pat Quinn sent him out on the line with Kent Nielsen and Paul Holmgren, and they got the game's first goal after just 45 seconds of play on the first shot against Don Beaupre.
Well, the big play was made, I think, at the blue line right here. Billy makes a good play here, Barber. He goes over the blue line, and he carries the puck with his feet. Then he passes back towards Paul Holmgren. Oh, the defenseman knocked it over, Langway. And Nielsen holds, Beaupre commits himself, and Nielsen just slides it nice and easy along the ice, off the goalpost, and in. Great, that was a great goal.
Phil, the patience that Nielsen had on that to hold the puck till the right moment is the key.
Well, if he would have shot it quickly and snapped it, Beaupre would have stopped it. But he had time enough to go across the goal crease, make Beaupre commit himself, and then slide it in.
All right, now Bob Bourne, who's normally a penalty killer, set up the first penalty-killing situation with the game's first penalty for the Campbells. Wales on the power play, but they get burned, and once again, Billy Barber's involved, this time with your guy in New York, Eddie Johnstone.
Right, Eddie makes a fantastic play here. He comes over the blue line, and he's going to shoot. He looks like he's going to shoot. Now, Beaupre comes right out, so Eddie holds it, see? He gets to the side. Billy goes in front of the net, Barber, and Eddie just shoots it for Billy's legs, which is a good play. A lot of players don't do that. And he banks it off Bill Barber's pads, and it's a goal. So, a great play by Johnson and an equally good play by Billy Barber.
What's the essence of good penalty killing?
I think the game has changed now. It's forcing. You got to force the other team because there's so many players. And if you don't force them, their zone, they come out, and if they get over the blue line, they're dangerous. All power plays are.
Phil, you're Bruins with Mark Hart and company in New York were the first really to attack on the defense.
Well, I think so. Derek Sanderson and Eddie Westfall were the penalty killers then, and they attacked all the time. Of course, we had Bobby Orr, and he controlled the whole game, whether it was penalty killing or power play.
Liut was extraordinary, but nor more so on one play against Mike Rogers, who was so stunned he stopped to see the instant replay.
Here it is here. Rogers comes over the blue line. He makes a good drop pass. I believe it's Gare. Gare shoots, and the puck deflects. Liut kicks at it, and watch, it comes right over, and Mike shoots. Now, Liut is almost, I cannot believe he made that save. At first I thought it hit the goalpost, but as the replay, he made a great save. He deserves to be star of this period for sure.
Once again, the shots are 18-8 for the Campbell Conference of deficit. They lead 2-0, and we'll be back with the start of the second period after we pause for these messages. With Gene Hart and Phil Esposito, Dan Kelly back at the Forum in Inglewood, California. 33rd National Hockey League All-Star Game. Campbell Conference 2, the Wales Conference nothing. Here we go with the second period. Kent Nielsen immediately wins the face-off, and Dennis Potvin feeds Rob Ramage, number 4. Ramage firing one in. Here's Nielsen in after it. Shoots. Beaupre came out. About 10 feet made the save as he cut down the angle. And Nielsen, who scored the game's first goal, came very close to scoring again.
Yeah, we'd like to point out now, Dan and Phil, that there will be no ties tonight for the 7th straight time. We have unlimited overtime to break a tie, so we'll have a winner tonight.
Right now, the Campbell Conference have a leg up. They have a 2-0 lead, thanks mainly to some great goaltending by their goaltender, Liut of the St. Louis Blues. Here's the loose puck shot to center. Ramage fires it back in. Now Beaupre to Marcow. Here's centered to Barber. Shoots. Oh, and Beaupre. A big save on Barber. Now Simmer tried to get it to center. Did. Ramage, number 4. Passes to Barber. Broken up by Marcow. Here's Howe to Bork. Bork, number 7. To Dion. Into Simmer, but Dennis Potvin is there. Potvin fires it off Howe down into the Wales end. And Bork of the Boston Bruins, number 7, back to get it. Here's the young defenseman Bork. Great puck carrier and puck handler. Moves in, shoots one, that deflects, and then Liut just bats to the side to Ben Wilson. Wilson, number 3 of the Philadelphia Flyers, to Ramage of the Colorado Rockies, to Federico. Into Johnstone, but tipped away. Broken up. Now back comes Gainey. Gainey trying to drop one back for Rogers, but shot to center by Wilson. And Langway, number 2, is back for the Whales. Rod Langway out of the University of New Hampshire. Giving it to Carlisle. At center to Danny Gare, number 20. Gare flipping one in, but Federico, number 24, cleared it. Gainey intercepting one there.
Drops it back to Langway. His shot. Liut the save. Here's Gainey with the rebound. Gainey tied up. Now gets it in behind the goal. Rogers trying to work one in front. Did. Shot away. Held in by Carlisle. Over to the side of the net. The shot is stopped by Wilson. Campbell Conference trying to get it out of there, and Ben Wilson does flip it to center. Langway. Number 2. Rod Langway with a rink-wide pass to Gainey. Tipped it to center, and Wayne Babbage, number 10. Tried to set up Johnstone, but it's cleared by Langway, and now here's Gainey. Moving in, looks for Middleton. The pass to Middleton, and he couldn't get a stick on it. Babbage for the Campbell shot at the center. Here's the Grodnick shooting it right back in. And Gretzky is there. Comes up with it for the Campbells at center ice for Williams. Williams tried to go through the defense. Now Bossy moves in on the left wing board when Reed Larson takes over and gives it to Picard. Now the Whales work at the center to Bobby Smith, number 15. Smith with a long shot that's wide of the target. Middleton. Now here's the Grodnick to Larson. Shoots and they tip it wide. Smith deflecting it wide. Here's Daly for the Campbell Conference. To Dave Tiger Williams to Gretzky. He has Bossy on his right. The pass to Bossy behind him. And intercepted there by Grodnick. They come back to center, the Wales Conference do. Now Grodnick has it again. He's number 27 from the Detroit Red Wings. A shot that dipped on Liut, but he got a glove on it. Now taking over is Bob Murray to Gretzky. At center to Bossy. Bossy wearing jersey number 23 flips it in. Voltre setting it up back to the goal. Reed Larson. Now on the left wing side for Bork. Back to Larson. Moving in. Here's Stosny. Cups in behind the net, number 26. Trying to drop it back. Peter Stosny held it in the zone. Now it comes to Steve Shutt, and he's tipped and checked by Remen. Howe at center ice. Over to Bork. Bork to center ice to Stosny of the Quebec Nordiques. Here's Peter Stosny. Got it in front. Putback cleared it away. Stosny again to Bork. Shoots wide of the target. Campbell Conference. Lukowicz at center ice for Gartner. Knocked off his stick, and Steve Shutt gives it to Mark Howe. At center ice, here's Stosny on a break. Stosny moving in, and Putbat dives across to break it up. Now Howe at the point. Centering one. Intercepted, and here's Bourne. Now Lukowicz on right wing. Jack Gartner takes over for the Campbell Conference, and as he shot it in, it's offside at the Wales blue line. With the score, the Campbell Conference 2, the Wales nothing. This is the 33rd annual All-Star Game. Play just underway as the Wales move into the Campbell end of the rink, and it's offside at the Campbell blue line. Yes, Gene Hart and Phil Esposito are here, but they never stop playing these guys.
You're doing a wonderful job there. Charlie Simmer again. How in the world could the Oakland club and then later Cleveland overlook a guy that could wind up scoring 50 goals a year, Phil?
Well, it just proves one point that, you have three guys on the line, and they complement each other extremely well.
Here's Dennis Potvin for the Campbell Conference, number 5. Trying to move in, and in ahead of the play over on the right side was Paul Holmgren offside. Never mind Cleveland and Oakland. What about the other teams that could have signed him as a free agent instead of Los Angeles?
Well, let me put it like, it really, there's Dennis Potvin. He's a great hockey player also, but it really, it really proves a point that you're as good as your teammates, and I believe that. Unless you're like an Orr, I think Orr was over and above a lot of other guys, but most guys really rely on their teammates.
Here the Campbell Conference. Ramage of the Colorado Rockies firing one in. Now Bill Barber centered one. Holmgren deflected it, but it went wide. Ramage at the point holding it in. Lets the shot go. Here's Holmgren. Trying to drop it back for Nilsson, but it goes all the way back into the Campbell end of the rink. Dennis Potvin. In behind the goal to Ramage to Holmgren. Got to center. Picard knocked it down there. Here's Kent Nilsson, number 15. Nilsson drops it to Holmgren. Can't get the shot away as Bobby Smith was there to break it up. Now Dennis Potvin to Bill Barber. Barber, who has scored one and set up another, comes on right wing to center. Here's Barber still with the puck, doing some neat stick handling. Now lost control, and the Whales fired around to Reed Larson, number 28. Trying to set up Bobby Smith, but Knocked down there. Here's Babbitt to Federico. In across the line, but the play is offside at the Wales Conference blue line. From the Forum in Los Angeles, this is the National Hockey League All-Star Network.
Here's a play. Stasny, he's coming down. Potvin dives. If Stasny drops this puck, Keogh's in all alone. Of course, he doesn't know that Keogh's coming, but if they would have been playing together all year long, you could have bet that Stasny would have dropped the puck to Keogh.
So an example of why, Phil, that Potvin has won the Norris Trophy as the league's best defenseman on 3 different occasions.
Here's a loose puck shot in by the Campbell Conference. Back is Mark Howe. The youngster Howe playing in his first All-Star game. His dad, Gordy, played in 23 of them. And it's dumped down the ice by the Wales Conference, and that will be icing as Ben Wilson is back to touch it.
You know, you mentioned Mark Howe, but Ben Wilson, who was acquired on a draft pick from the Pittsburgh Penguins and was the #1 choice by the Flyers in 1978, Phil, and he went 6th overall, and he is certainly the key upon which Philadelphia's defense of the future is built.
Well, he's a good hockey player. He's big, he's strong, and he's mean, which you need.
Here's Federico on a shot from the face-off into the corner. Howe trying to clear it, and the Wales do shoot it down the ice. Kevin McCarthy, number 25 of the Vancouver Canucks, is back for the Campbell Conference. McCarthy on the left wing boards to Johnstone. He's jammed up, now centered, but Federico beats number 10, Wayne Babbitt. Babbitt trying to get it to Johnstone, but Ray Bork at the blue line broke up a 2-on-1, and the play is offside anyway.
Well, if that wasn't offside, it wasn't going to be offside, Eddie Johnson would have had a breakaway. And of course, I'm a little prejudiced right now because Eddie's our only representative on that team. Here's Dave Taylor. Is he proven to be a good hockey player or what?
19th selection, 210th chosen overall, and one of a trio of the great lines of hockey. Scott Bowman in his 8th All-Star game. He's won more than any other, 4, and he needs one more, although he'll never get it as he retires after this one as general manager and director of hockey operations in Buffalo. But he needed one more to match Toe Blake, another great Montreal mentor.
Bowman said at the press conference yesterday, hopefully this is my last game as a coach.
2-0, gentlemen, and we've played 6:22 into the second period. Campbell's on top.
Got in by the Campbell Conference. Back is Randy Carlisle. Carlisle trying to feed it out on the right side, does to Danny Gare, who shot it to center. And back goes Daly with Gretzky, and Gretzky number 99. Now the Campbell's Daly giving it to Gretzky. Gretzky trying to flip it in on right wing for Bossy, and he shot it up over the glass.
One thing about Scotty Bowman, he says he hopes it's his last game. I guess he's not closing any doors.
Well, the Pittsburgh Penguins traded Dave Burrows, and they got George Ferguson and that young man, Randy Carlisle, and he's just been an extraordinary athlete this year. He's picked up over 50 assists. Wayne Babbage on the bench, a late selection by Pat Quinn, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Here the Campbell shooting one to center ice. Rogers gives it to Langway. Langway almost lost it to Gretzky. Now here's Langway number 2, and Williams took him out of the play and knocked it back to the Wales blue line. Carlisle to Gainey. Gainey shooting one off the boards. Daly takes over, his pass into the center ice area. Here's Mike Bossy, couldn't get anywhere. Now Bossy dropping it back for Murray. Bob Murray in front of his own goal to Daly. But Daly is able to get it to center ice. This puck is taken there. Now here's a lead pass from Bossy to Gretzky, but offside at the Wales Conference blue line. There is 12 minutes, 34 seconds left in the second period. For the score, Campbell's 2, Wales nothing.
Back here at the Forum, and by the way, we honored Phil Esposito, and Dan, congratulations to you as you were honored in St. Louis earlier in the year for your quarter century of excellence in sports broadcasting.
Thank you, Gene Hart. Puck is shot in by the Campbell Conference. Now here's Bourne trying to get to it. Lukowicz was there to help him, but the Whales shoot it to center ice. Going back is Dennis Potvin. Potvin fired it to center. Reed Larson intercepting one. Now Schutt had a chance, but Potvin shot that to center. Picard shot it back in, and that's offside at the Campbell blue line, and Dennis Potvin falls flat on his back.
Well, he came to the Islanders, Phil, in 1973 as the #1 player chosen overall, and certainly in his 8th year after much personal disorder within the organization led them to a Stanley Cup last year.
Well, he was there, I guess, when it was, it wasn't too good at the beginning, but he's nice fall, Dennis.
I can remember a guy by the name of Esposito doing that during his introduction one year.
And Russia, too.
Here is Ramage flipping one to center ice. Too far for Lukowicz. Goes all the way down the ice. Picard back to get it. Bourne in to tie him up. But they ruled Picard touched it. So icing called against the Campbell Conference.
Phil, tell us about that great entry you made in that All-Star Classic.
Well, they were introducing us. I was so nervous. I had a flower. I was squeezing it so tight I broke the stem. When they introduced me, I went up and I slide, stopped like you're supposed to, like we did at the pregame here. And I stepped on the flower and fell flat on my keister, and at least I got the Russians to laugh.
Here's a chance for Picard at the point. Shot it back to the goal. Ramage is there. He's tied up, and now Lukowicz starts back with a pass to Bourne. To Gartner on right wing, but broken up by Picard. Campbell's reorganized at their own blue line. Dennis Potvin, number 5. They lead the game 2-0. Here's Potvin. Moves in. Tried to center one, and Lukowicz tipped it wide. He got a piece of the centering pass. Gartner shot it to the corner. Now the Whales work it out, and here's number 4, Robert Picard. Over onto the other wing for Kehoe. Broken up, and here's Barber to Nilsson. That's intercepted. Back comes Stosny. Number 26 to Middleton, number 12. There's Rick Middleton down in front of the goal. The Ute tried to clear it, failed. Now grabs it and held on.
Earlier we talked about the Stosny brothers, Anton and Peter, who were spirited out of Czechoslovakia in foreign intrigue, playing with that unit last year in the World Championship. And they still have a brother in Czechoslovakia that they're trying to get back named Marion.
That's right. Here's the play right here. I think Liuch knows he should have grabbed it before and not let that puck go out in the slot. But just for the people at home, the passes aren't as crisp as you would normally see because these guys haven't played together.
Here's Middleton with a chance for the Wales Conference. Rick Middleton, number 12, tries to center one. Now Kent Nilsson trying to shoot it out, but held in by Mark Howe. Middleton in behind the net, trying to work it free. Now it comes to Howe. Shot it behind the goal. Here's Middleton. Tried to center. It was off the skate, and Barber comes up with it for the Campbell Conference. Now here's Kent Nilsson, number 15 of the Calgary Flames, dropping one back. Here's McCarthy, and Barber deflects it over top of the goal. Now Nilsson centering one. And Middleton, number 12, passes to the center ice red line for Bork. He passes to Obrodnik. And Liut out of the goal to clear it to the corner. Middleton knocked it down. Here's Ben Wilson over on right wing for Holmgren. Paul Holmgren shot at the center. Bork intercepting there. Here's Ray Bork. Now the Whales on the attack as they work it to Middleton, number 12. Rick Middleton tries to work in across the line, but Barber, who seems to be everywhere, was there and shot at the center. Obrodnik dropped it into his own zone to Bork. Wales Conference, give it to Dion. Here's Dion with Taylor and Simmer. The pass to Simmer. Simmer tried to get it in front. Does. Here's Taylor. Shoots. Liut called and shot. And Rob Dave Taylor. And it's shot to center ice by the Campbell Conference. And Johnstone then loses. Here's Taylor again. Taylor to Simmer. Trying to center it and sliding across with McCarthy to break it up. Federico for the Campbell Conference. Checks in the play, and back comes Randy Carlisle. Carlisle moving in. Shoots. Liut to say rebound. And that shot wide. Now centered and coming up with it is McCarthy to Federico. At center ice to Johnstone. Now to Babich. The pass behind him. And it is Langway for the Wales Conference. Lead pass to Dion. Daly is back to break it up. Daly shoots it around in the boards for... Now it's centered out in front. Federico breaks it up for the Campbell Conference and passes to Johnstone. To number 10, Wayne Babich. Babich lost it to Langway. Now Daly steals it into Federico with Babich. Federico tries to center. Broken up on a good defensive play by Carlisle. And now back from the Whales. Here's Gare on right wing. Liut to save. Rebound, and Babich has it for the Campbell. Game opens up. Here's Babich with a long shot, and that goes up over the glass and into the crowd. from the Forum in Los Angeles. This is the National Hockey League All-Star Network. 8 minutes and 17 seconds left in the second period, and as is the custom in All-Star games, the teams change goaltenders. Pete Peters will take over for the Campbell Conference. Mario Lessard of the Los Angeles Kings will take over for the Wales Conference. 25-11, the shots on goal favor the Wales Conference, but because of sensational play by Liut, who you see right now at the Campbell bench, it is a 2-0 game, and still he's been the difference so far.
There's no doubt about it, Danny. He's been extremely hot in that goal this evening. He's an excellent goaltender, and you know, you don't realize how good the goalie is until you sit up here and watch him. When you're playing against him and that, you really don't realize it. Watch this here. Carlisle shoots the puck. Great save right there. The rebound comes right out. Taylor shoots it wide of the target. But before that, Taylor had a shot. Simmer was in a corner, and he passed it right across the goal, most like that line always does, and he made a great save.
We have a couple of new goaltenders, Lessard and Peters. With the score, the Campbells 2, the Wales nothing. We'll be back after this message. Well, we've changed goaltenders. We're going to change announcers. Here's Gene Hart for 14 years, the play-by-play voice of the Philadelphia Flyers. Go, Gene.
Thank you, Dan Kelly, and we almost had the break at center ice as Gare got through, but Potvin breaks it up and fires it away at center. Markell penetrates up the middle into the Campbell zone. He's got Gainey breaking up the middle on the right side, but the play is broken away by Ramage, who comes to center ice. He's got Gretzky on his left. Gretzky going into the left wing corner on the feed. Takes it out of the corner, puts it in front, deflected back through the point and into center ice. Tiger Williams had covered in on the right side, couldn't contain. Now up the middle on the left side, Mike Bossy. Over the line to Ben Wilson, into the right wing corner. The puck off the stick of Gretzky. Behind the net, centering pass, broken up and picked up by Ray Bork. Tries to come out along the near side. Bork checked in there by Tiger Williams. And it's Bork clearing around his own left wing boards for Bob Gainey. Gainey, an outlet pass at center. Cleared by Bossy off the near side to Gretzky and into the zone to Williams. Back to Gretzky. In front, he tried to find the breaking right winger Bossy, but that just failed to click. And Bork for Boston, up to Gainey on the left wing at center ice for the Campbells. Firing it down behind Pete Peters in the Wales net as the Wales change on the goal. Out there now, Picard along with Larson, and they have shut on with Stastny and Rick Kehoe. Then Wilson at center ice for the Campbells, back into his own zone far side. Kevin McCarthy checked in there by Stastny, but gets it up through at center ice, and it's played into the zone by Bob Bourne behind the Campbell net. Bourne picks it up, tries to center, tips out into the neutral zone, and played by Stastny off the skate. Picard follows for Campbell. Through on the left side, the shot. Drive! And Peters with his first save clears it off the corner to his right. And Bob Bourne for the Campbells outlets it through at center ice for Wilson. Left wing pass intended for Lukowicz, broken down by Reed Larson of Campbell, but controlled by the Campbell Conference in their own zone and set up on the right side to Mark Gartner and throw to Bob Bourne. Up the middle at the Wales line, fires it in, is dumped on a check by Reed Larson as Lessard gets his first play with Stastny getting it up to center right, dropping a pass back from same shot. Stastny in front of save by Peters on the dump pass. And it is Mike Gartner looking up ice. He has Bob Daly along with Lukowicz through at center right for the Campbells at the Wales line. Dump pass right side. Gartner a 50-footer. And Lessard got that in the pass, squeezed the plate off to his left. John Ogrodnik has it in his own left wing corner for the Campbells as we have 5.5 minutes remaining in the second period. 2-0 Campbells. They steal behind the net. In there is Ted Nielsen, who has the first goal of the game. Billy Barber, who has the second shorthanded, loses the puck as the Wales try to clear it. Ticked back by Potvin into his offensive left wing corner. Has it, centering pass, in front, shot! And Barber was taken on an excellent save by Lessard from the right circle.
Tough roll for these goaltenders, Phil. Lessard and Peters coming in, and both have looked sharp.
Well, you got to understand, too, in all-star games, it's mostly all the shooters that come into the games. And you know the goaltenders are going to get a lot of work. And Lessard played that extremely well. You can see why he has 27 victories in this league so far this year.
More wins than any goaltender in the league to this point.
The Campbell line that has scored both goals, Barber, Holmgren, and Nielsen out, against Smith, who's on with Middleton and Ogrodnik. Puck control behind the Wales net by defenseman Randy Carlisle. Gets a return and sends it through on the right wing for Rod Langley. Floated away by Billy Barber. Left circle drive. And he had the long side ticket into the start. Got that glove in there to steer it away. And the Wales shoot at the center ice. Barber back over the line. Into the right wing corner to teammate Paul Holmgren. Winds it around to the left wing side. In there is Barber. Battling along the near side with Rick Middleton. Puck taken off by Bobby Smith, who's dumped by Holmgren, has his Langley in the puck to center ice. Broken up nicely by Bob Ramage, but followed up by the Campbells and shot into the Wales zone. Billy Barber along his own left wing side. Tries to clear out. It's blocked, but Dennis Potvin brings it up into center ice. Kent Nielsen to his left. Paul Holmgren to his right as he penetrates in the middle. Look for a centering passing shot that was blocked off in front by Langley. And the rebound sent all the way down the ice by the Wales. And that'll be an icing as it's put up to by Bob Ramage. We have from the Forum in Los Angeles, this is the National Hockey League All-Star Network. Play on in the Wales zone. Campbell, Bernie Federko, centers, he's got a score by Wayne Babbitt.
Well, watch this play. We'll see the replay. Federko makes a good play at the blue line. He passes it out to Eddie Johnson, who really outmuscles the defenseman here. I believe it's, who is that? I can't see the number. I couldn't see the number, but anyway, he just slid it across the thing. I can't make out who that is. That's Dave Taylor. It was Dave Taylor. That's who it was. Back to them.
3-0. Number 10, Wayne Babbitt.
Wayne Babbitt representing the St. Louis Blues for the Campbell Conference. And Eddie Johnstone gets his second assist in the game, along with Bernie Federko, a teammate of Babbitt at St. Louis. As now the Royals find themselves down 3-0. Dave Taylor working along the offensive right wing side. Has the puck side out by the Wales, Ben Wilson.
That goal, that goal was made really on Federko's great centering pass to Johnstone. And Eddie just outmuscled Dave Taylor and slid it across to Babbitt, who was just in the right, perfect position.
Babbitt has scored 41 goals this year, and he shows his goal-scoring prowess here in his first ever All-Star game.
Dan, a great deal of consternation in St. Louis when he wasn't originally selected, but fate will out, and he's here and he scores.
I guess you could call him an 11th hour choice, although it was probably closer to midnight.
Well, again, gentlemen, it shows shots don't mean a great deal. They're 26-15 for the Wales, and yet they're in the bucket 3-0. Along the near side, Tiger Williams tries to hook Taylor off the play as it goes back to the point. In front, Taylor tried to deke on the pass for Mark Howe, but Gretzky plays it out at center ice. They got one man to beat Howe. Tiger Williams breaks for the net on the left wing, but has to pick the pass up the corner. Goes behind the net to Gretzky, and that's the place for Wayne as a master. But broken up, and out comes the Wales at center ice along the left wing side. There is Simmer, centering pass. In front, Howe, a shot. Blocked rebound, fired off the side of the net as Peters was down. In front, Simmer's trying to pass, broken up, and out breaks Williams again. He's got Bossy along with Gretzky. Williams back to Gretzky to Bossy in front. Gretzky a shot. And that was broken up as Lassard was down. Williams in front, a shot, another shot. Knocked down at the side of the net was Bossy. The play still on. And here comes Charlie Taylor out with Simmer on his left 2-on-2 at the Campbell line. Taylor to the top of the right wing circle. Shot in on Peters. He can't find it as it drops through on his pads to the left of the crease. But then he sits on it for the stoppage of play.
Well, you can see it, but Pete Peters had trouble. I guess fell the wrong way for him to see with that mask, but he finally did see it.
He loses sight of this puck. He doesn't know where it is, and then all of a sudden he gets it. He got it just in time because Charlie Simmer was cruising in there. But this kid is a good goaltender. He is, I think, one of the reasons why Philadelphia is so high in the standings.
2.42 goals against average. That's the best in the National Hockey League at this point in the season. I think you've seen a couple of the great young goaltenders here tonight. They've shut out the Wales Conference so far. First Liut, and now Pete Peters.
You know, Danny, down that other one, I heard Gene Hart say Gretzky is so good behind the net. He really is dynamite.
Point shot by Pickard on the feed. As Gainey takes it offensive left wing corner for the Campbells. Boom, good check behind the net. Thrown by Bob Bourne. Broken up in front, a shot by Gainey. On an excellent fade from Mike Rogers, and Peters was equal. The Campbell again 3-0 Campbell. The most valuable player in tonight's game will be awarded a 1981 Toyota Supra. And Kelly will be down on the ice for the presentation following the game.
Here's the replay. Great save by Pete Peters here. I don't think Gainey got all the wood he wanted on it, but it was still a great save.
Roger, Gainey, and Gare, the line for the Wales Conference, along with Picard and Ray Larson. And it's Bob Bourne out along with Lukowicz and Gartner for the Campbells. And defensively, they have Ramage out there along with Potvin. Up ice, Gartner dumps it down the right wing side from Nielsen behind the Wales net, played by Lassard, but it's offensive steal by the Campbells. Here comes Bourne, a short side shot to the left of Lassard. That's broken up. Lukowicz behind the net, rolls it to the offensive right wing side, but Ray Larson of the Campbells comes out on the three-man rush with Rogers and Gare. 3-on-2. Larson, he's got a man in front, tries to drop it back into the slot. But back-checking with Maury Lukowicz to send it up on the right side. Gartner coming over the line, trying to beat Picard, who takes him into the corner. Centering pass by Gartner. But picked off there, and up ice comes Clayton shot for the Wales. Up on the right side at center ice. Gets past Lukowicz. Tries to get inside Ben Wilson, taken off the puck. And Wilson for the Wales gets it into center ice. Randy Carlisle back at his own line for the Wales with 1:18 remaining, second period. 3-0 Campbell over the line. Shot, long drive, and Peters gets that one in the breadbasket and hangs on for the stoppage of play.
Still the shots on goal favoring the Wales Conference, but the scoreboard showing a 3-0 Campbell lead.
But the Wales have to keep on going. Here's a shot there. Good save by Pete there again, but the Wales are going to have to penetrate. If they get one, they may get a couple of more, but they got to keep shooting. They got to stop this fancy passing.
Play back to the point. Picked up there by Rod Langway. Stripped to the puck, extended to center ice, but Langway gets it back from Billy Barber. Now Randy Carlisle of the Campbell shoots it into the Wales zone. Kevin McCarthy there. Up on the right side and outlets it through to Kent Nielsen over the line. Into Billy Barber, back to Nielsen. He's got a man open on the right side, but can't get Holmgren the puck. Now to Ben Wilson, into the left wing circle, off the skate of Kent Nielsen, and sent through and all the way down the ice by the Wales. That'll be an icing as Kevin McCarthy gets there first for the Campbells.
See Ben Wilson at the blue line there. He's doing, or he's starting to do, they're starting to do what they should. There's Ken Nielsen. He's having a great game so far. But they're trying to deke and dive now and try to make passes instead of shooting the puck, which happens at all-star games all the time.
Ken Nielsen, the Swedish import with the Calgary Flames, got the first goal of the game. Barber and Babich have scored the others. It's 3-0. We've only had one other all-star shutout. That was Charlie Hodge and Gary Bauman, leading the Montreal Canadiens to a shutout victory over the All-Stars. Shutout so far, though, in favor of the Campbells.
In the Wales zone, and Rod Langway tries to lift it out, but he hit the linesman. Jim Christensen on the head. Nielsen into the slot. Left circle wide to Barber, and he tipped it wide to the left of Lassard. And Jim Christensen got one off the Coco there, but he's back in play along the near side as one of the linesmen. Back in the offensive corner. In there is Peter Stosny, forechecked by Paul Holmgren of the Campbell Conference. But it is played by Langway up the middle of the ice for Stosny. He comes into the zone. He's got Kehoe on his right, but overskates the puck. Nielsen along his own left wing, right wing defensive boards, has it taken away by Stosny. Behind the net, the Kehoe tries to find his man in front shot. But it's Billy Barber again of the Wales up along the near side who cannot get out as the second period comes to an end. The score after the second period, the Campbell Conference 3, the Wales Conference no score. And we'll have a close-up on the host of the All-Star game, Jerry Buss, after these messages.
Los Angeles, California, the land of dreams to many people. Dreams of making it big in movies, television, and sports. One man who has made it big is Dr. Jerry Buss, owner of the Forum, the Kings, and Lakers. Dr. Buss also owns and lives in the legendary Beverly Hills mansion called Pickfair, the 1920 honeymoon house of Hollywood stars Mary Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks. Purchased in 1980 by Jerry Buss for $5.4 million with payments of $37,000 per month, it is there that he tells of his dreams.
As a child, of course, everybody has dreams. And one of the dreams I always had was to buy an enormous house with a big backyard. So Pickfair has been a dream come true for me. When I grew up in Wyoming, all through the year it was always snowy and never really had a big backyard with a lot of green grass, and that's always been, I guess, the thing I've wanted more than anything. A place where I could just go outside and run around on the grass. And when I saw Pickfair with its expanse of lawn, it appealed to me immediately. The house itself, of course, has some historical background to it, and I appreciate that. But in reality, it was the grounds that tempted me to buy Pickfair. Apparently, there were in people and out people in Hollywood back in the 20s and 30s, and the difference between the two were those who were invited to Pickfair and those who were not. I don't intend to throw a lot of entertainment Hollywood-type parties. I will certainly have some friends over and play pool and a little frisbee in the backyard, but I think it will take a total different appearance than it has in the past. Sports teams have been something that I've always idolized for years and years and years, and suddenly to be the owner of two major league teams, I must admit, is a fantasy come true. I'm the typical fan who got lucky out of the stands and ended up as the owner of two teams. The night I bought the Forum, again, a dream come true. I waited until everyone had left, walked out into the middle of the Forum, put a chair in the middle, sat down in a chair and lit a cigarette, and enjoyed probably the finest smoke I've ever had. I suppose that most people consider me somewhat out of place at the National Hockey League meetings. I certainly felt that way myself, because as I looked around the room, there were some 50 people, and I realized I was the only one there without a tie. I'm fascinated by the game of hockey. I think it's one of the most fluid sports. I think it's going to undergo more changes in the 80s than any of the other sports. I think coaching is taking a whole new look at some of the strategies. The players, of course, are becoming much better. There's going to be some dynamic changes, and of course, when you're in something that's changing rapidly, I think it's the most exciting time for that particular sport. As a fan, the single word that would describe me the most is immature. I feel that I get carried away with the play. I'm very provincial in my attitudes. Only the kings do the right things, etc. I must admit, I'm probably you're a very typical dyed-in-the-wool hockey fan who can see his team and his team alone.
From the Kings, breakaway, Dion, all alone, Dion shoots, score!
I had been told when I entered the league that most owners have the attitude that you cannot be friends with your players, that you shouldn't get close to them. I disagree with that totally. Of course, there's always the employer-employee relationship like there is in any business. I, at any time, might have to trade one of the players or not pick up his option on a contract. But I don't think this prevents me from being friendly with them. I'm friends with most of the other employees that I have in other businesses. I don't see that sports is any real different. Only by being very close to them will I understand their problems, their personalities, and I think that will help me in building a better team, which is the one thing that both the players and I have in common. We do want to win.
It's the Campbell 3, the Wales no score. Coming up, Phil Esposito and Dan Kelly recap the second period. From the Forum in Los Angeles, this is the National Hockey League Network.
The Campbell Conference All-Stars 3, the Wales Conference nothing. That's the score after two periods. Dan Kelly with Phil Esposito down in our intermission studio. You look at those shots on goal. 31-17 in favor of the Wales Conference. First it was Mike Liut, and now Pete Peters, and that's been really the story of the game, the shutout goaltender.
Well, there's no doubt Liut has been, between he and Billy Barber, have been the star of the game so far, and he's kept that team much. Here's the play I was talking about upstairs. We didn't have it, but Simmer comes around, behind the, now he stops, and Taylor goes to this opposite side. Watch. Now, I don't know how Liut stopped this puck. Oh, I see. Taylor held on to it a little bit too long. If he whacks it right away like he should have, he would have scored a goal there. But Liut made a great save there. And, I mean, I can't say enough about the way he's playing. I can't say enough about the way this game is going. For an all-star game, I don't think I've ever seen or been involved with a game that's so wide open and great goaltending and everything. Okay, there isn't the ordinary hitting that's going on, but they're really flying out there, and I think it's a great game.
And we had one goal in that second period. It was for the Campbell Conference. Wayne Babbage was the man who scored it, and Phil Esposito will analyze it for us.
Well, here, Fedorko makes a good play at the blue line, and he goes in the corner, and he makes it go on Ray Bork, and he takes a look, and he sees Johnson, and he just puts it right out in front. Now, Dave Taylor, Eddie out-muscled him. That's all he did, and Babbage came in number 5. Mark Howe should have taken Babbage. He just skated away from him.
So Wayne Babbage, playing in his first All-Star game, gets his first All-Star goal, and it gives the Campbell Conference a 3-0 lead. I'll be back with National Hockey League President John Ziegler coming up in just a minute after these messages. Conference 3, the Wales Conference nothing after 2 periods. It's my pleasure now to introduce the president of the National Hockey League, John Ziegler, to our national television audience. John, another all-star game, and this one with the dinner last night and all the stars of Hollywood and then some pretty good hockey stars tonight. It's been quite a couple of days.
Oh, it's been a lot of fun. Outstanding hockey game. I don't think I can remember any game where a goalkeeper got a standing ovation, and he's from the opposing team in this building. It's outstanding.
I'm not sure if the ovation was for Liut leaving or for Mario Lassard coming in. It was kind of interchange, but it was quite something. And I think Phil Esposito hit on a good point, John. The players, maybe it's because of the younger breed involved, so many in their first game. They're really flying out there tonight.
A lot of pride out there, and pride in execution. I think it's been an outstanding game, up and down, and I don't think that it's over yet.
And next year to Washington, D.C., or Landover, Maryland, which is near Washington.
I think that based on what Washington had seen Los Angeles do, they're going to work hard to outdo them, and it's just going to be more fun for all of us.
Thanks for visiting with us, John. Congratulations on a fine show.
Well, thank you, Dan. I think that we're very proud of the whole festivities, especially proud of the players and the way they're working tonight.
National Hockey League President John Ziegler. Third period action coming up to the broadcast booth. Gene Hart and Phil Esposito.
Well, you know, the statistics are eye-opening. Every skater for the Wales Conference has had a shot, and for the Campbell Conference, Bill Barber has had 7 of their 17.
You know, that's very unusual for every player to have a shot on net during a game. Every coach, is Brian Lewis, the referee, and I think he's doing a pretty good job. But every coach wants every player to have a shot on net during the games, and to see this happening without even the third period is something else.
We might add that they're using 18 skaters instead of the normal 17. So you look at the Campbell Conference bench, Ben Wilson of the Philadelphia Flyers, who also repeats and iterates the Shakespeare. And an odd switch, Phil, for the Campbell Conference. Sitting next to Ben Wilson is Kevin McCarthy, who was traded by Philadelphia to Vancouver as an all-star defenseman. Meanwhile, Bob Bailey, who earlier, several years before, was traded by Vancouver to Philadelphia, he also tonight is an all-star defenseman.
Well, that's what this game's all about, too, is you have to make good trades, and obviously both clubs made good trades.
All right, the Wales have to open up. They're attacking to the left. They trail 3-0. They steal the puck in the zone. Potvin breaks it up. It's played to the right circle. Turnaround shot by Danny Gare. Broken down by Potvin and taken behind the Wales net, or the Campbell net, by Kent Nielsen. And played up through to Billy Barber at center ice. He's got Kent Nielsen with him. Looks to the side of the net, dumps it across ice, but Mike Rogers, that chance to recover for the Wales, picks the puck up and starts away at center ice. Mike Rogers through at the Campbell line, tries to get past Potvin, who takes him out of the play. Kent Nielsen in his own left wing corner loses the puck. Taken off there by the Wales, played up along the near side. Holmgren, boom, good check in on Ray Bork, but Holmgren goes down as the Campbell's in front of shot. And a great save on Mark Howe by St. Peters as up ice comes Potvin for the Campbells at the Wales line. His shot is smothered by Ray Bork as the Campbells change on the go, bringing out Fedorko along with Eddie Johnstone. And now joined by Dwayne Babbage, who got the third goal. Shot from the blue line by Charlie Simmers broken down by Peters. Play cleared up the center ice by the Campbells. Fedorko out there with Johnstone and Babbage. And defensively, Kevin McCarthy is on with Ben Wilson. For the Wales, they have Rod Langway and Reed Larson back at defense. The Dion, Simmer, and Taylor up front, the Triple Crown line. And with the sellout crowd here at the Forum, 16,005. Love to see that line put something on the board. Fedorko now for the Campbells. Plays along his own right wing and gets a return pass from teammate Wayne Babbage. Penetrates the Wales line along the right wing. Holds, goes cross ice. He's got Ben Wilson, top of the left circle. Drive, tipped home, and rebounded by Eddie Thompson, who takes the home. With the score, the Campbell Conference 3, the Wales Conference no score. This is the 33rd annual All-Star Game.
There's Gordon Lightfoot. He put on quite a show last night. My singing partner.
So did Phil Esposito.
Play on as played by Taylor up to Marcel Dion at center ice against Bob Murray. The Wales Conference loses the puck, and Murray clears it out at center ice as there's a collision between Tiger Williams and Mike Bossy, and Bossy is injured, and that's something you never like to see happen in an All-Star game.
They bumped into each other, and I think Mike hit his head, but I think he's all right. He's just stunned probably a little bit. All you Islander fans back there, don't worry. I think he's all right.
You see that automatic goal machine down on that ice, you get a little bit nervous.
You're not kidding.
Particularly Al Arbor and Bill Torrey. What a great goal scorer he is. He has never scored less than 50 goals in his 4 years in the NHL.
There it is here. They bump into each other, and Williams hit, and yeah, well, Mike landed more on his tailbone, I think, than anything else. An interesting observation, I believe. Well, that is quite a check. An interesting observation. Scotty Bowman did not start Marcel Dion's line that period. Maybe he's trying to get him away from the Barber Nielsen Holmgren line, because that line has really been the star of, that line's been the star of that Campbell Conference.
Bailey and McCarthy out, and the line is on with Gretzky, Bossy, and Tiger Williams. Gretzky broken up at his own line, gets it back to Big Bob Daly, called the Count in Philadelphia. Plate through, up the middle, over the line, Bossy, right circle. Holds, trying to find a man in the slot. He's got side of the net, Williams in front to Gretzky, and that just failed to click as Dave Taylor broke it up. Now Gretzky behind the net, tried to come out in front for Stuffer, tries to dump again, broken up by Dion, and played up on the right side and misfired through to the near board. Taylor tried to keep it out, and along with Rod Langway, but in there is Tiger Williams for the Campbell Conference to deflect it out of the rink, and we'll have a face-off just inside the Wales blue line.
There's the Wales bench now. Bossy's all right. He shook that off pretty good.
We mentioned briefly that Phil Esposito was part of the entertainment last night. What was the name of that song you were singing, Phil?
Oh, the Hockey Soft Rock.
A great goal scorer becomes a rock and roll singer.
Well, we raised a lot of money for juvenile diabetes. That's what it's all about.
Well, you feel old at 40 and creaking, but there was a gentleman who entertained last night at the All-Star dinner, was 87 years young and was brilliant.
He sure was.
George Burns. Now in come the Campbell Conference. Maury Lukowicz down the left wing side to Bob Bourne. Tries to find Gardner in front. Broken up by Randy Carlin, and that breaks Rick Middleton at center ice against Potvin. Gets by him down the right wing side. He's got shot in the slot. Pass is blocked. Blocked away from Bobby Smith as well, this time by Bob Bourne. Now out comes Maury Lukowicz. Up at center ice for the Campbells at the Wales line. Through on the right wing to Mike Gardner. Gardner holds, pivots away from Schutt, has the puck taken away and sent through to Middleton at center ice by Randy Carlisle. Middleton along with Schutt, trailed by Bobby Smith. They poke it behind the Campbell net, and there's Big Pete Taters from Edmonton, his home birthplace, getting the puck on the carom for the stoppage of play.
Ricky Middleton is having a good game. He leads the Bruins in scoring with 77 points. He made quite a move on Dennis Potvin at the blue line there, and just failed to connect on a good pass to Steve Schutt. He's one heck of a hockey player, there's no doubt about
it. We've got the Kent Nielsen line out along with Barber and Holmgren, and Ben Wilson with Kevin McCarthy. There's a pass right out in the slot set up for Middleton, but he planned and the puck slides through at center ice. Middleton still on with Schutt and Bobby Smith as Carlisle fans on a pass from his own line for the Wales, but the puck is covered by Bobby Smith. Campbell's leading the game 3-0 with 16:20 remaining in the third period. Outlet through to Middleton at center ice. Flips it into the offensive corner. Then Wilson there for the Whales. Winds it around to Paul Holmgren. And he gets it through at center ice, where Nielsen tries to find a man through at the line, Billy Barber. And Barber is tripped to the puck well by Bob Picard. Forechecking is Holmgren. Almost falls in the corner. Picks it up. Got a man in front. Can't get him the puck. Kent Nielsen. And it's taken out and sent through by Bobby Smith to center ice, trying to outlet for Rick Middleton. But Ben Wilson and Kevin McCarthy of the Campbells take it off and lift it into the offensive right wing corner. Holmgren in there puts the grab on John Ogrodnik as the puck springs loose to McCarthy. Right point shot. Smothered in front and sent up ice by Carlisle to Smith to Middleton on the right wing against Ben Wilson. He's got Ogrodnik breaking for the net, but the puck slides in on goaltender Peters. A grab for the stoppage of play. From the Forum in Los Angeles, this is the National Hockey League All-Star Network.
There's Robert Walden of Lou Grant, quite a hockey fan.
15:35 remaining in the third period, and we say the third period because overtime is possible if the Whales can get three. Shot in on the net. Peters a save. It's loose across the goal now. Played up along the near side. Turn around and jump to the net. To the left side of Peters. Broken down from Peter Stosny. Centering pass by Ogrodnik. And then as Kehoe tried to wind up with a shot, had it tripped. Taken off in front. There's an open net shot. Oh, and Peters got that stick out and robbed Ogrodnik of a goal when he appeared to have the whole right side of the net.
Here's a good save by Pete Peters. Ogrodnik makes a good play, and Peters just stands and stays right with him. They're starting to put the pressure on a little bit, and they have to right now.
There's Alex Trebek, native of Canada, now out in Hollywood, mainly known as the quiz show master. He was at the All-Star dinner last night. A great hockey game, originally from Sudbury, Ontario.
A little North Country.
There's a feed out in front for Kehoe, but it slides up the middle and through the Wales defense all the way down into their end. Mark Howe back with Ray Bork. Bork feeds up on the right side as Kehoe drops back to Howe. Will carry the puck through at center ice for the Wales at the Campbell line. Howe penetrates, holds. Left side of Brodnick's got a man in front. Kehoe, he scores!
Well, Ogrodnik was robbed earlier by Peters. That time he got him on the short side, Bill, with just a tremendous shot.
He made a tremendous shot. Actually, he made kind of a not a dumb play, but he could have walked way in. Watch, there's nobody around, and he shoots him far out. And Peters is already leaning to that guy coming on the right there, Kehoe. He pegs it off the goalpost. A great shot by Ogrodnik. Here it is again. Great slap shot. He caught the inside post, and you shouldn't beat the goalie on the short side. There's no doubt about that, but he did. And it was a good shot by Ogrodnik.
Ogrodnik getting the goal from Howe and Kehoe at 5:13. Ogrodnik's first in NHL All-Star competition.
That should ignite the Wales, and now the Campbells are going to have to tighten the seatbelt. Puck along the right wing side in the attack zone, and the Wales get a draw. We have a long way to go. 14:34. Wales on the board, trailing 3-1.
Well, with a little over 14 minutes to go, the Wales conference is got to press, and now they got one. Maybe it's going to open up the doors a little bit, and I think that's what they're hoping for.
Mike Rogers out. And he has Ganey on the left, Gare on the right. And at the near side, trying to contain the puck is Rod Langway, but doesn't contain it enough. Drives it from center ice back into the attack zone offside.
Wow. That is something.
You see a lot of sights in Hollywood and Los Angeles, don't you?
You sure do. Wow. I'd like to have a pair of scissors.
Well, they say it's the home of stars and also a few planets like Mars. Ganey, offensive left wing corner, overskates the puck, and the Campbells bring it through at center. Here comes Fossey, who was shaken up on his last chip by Tiger Williams, but right back into the action. He's got Gretzky, left circle. Gretzky pivots. Stops the pass back to the blue line, and there's Potsdam set up beautifully. Drag pass in front, and a planned on the play by Bossy from the right side. He gets the Karam, offensive right wing corner. Tied up in there. The puck taken away by Mike Rogers. As Bossy tried to go behind the net to Gretzky, it's played to the blue line. Ravitch keeps it in drive. Oh, and that hits the Langway in the rebound. On the Karam in front of Tiger Williams, and up quick. Trails at center ice. There through, he's got Rogers breaking for the net. The trailer is Ganey, short side shot. And the save is made by Peters. Ganey tries to go back to the point, and just an excellent bump by Tiger Williams took Reed Larson off the board, and the puck sails all the way down the ice. way, up through to Dion as they bring the three-crown line out there. Taylor, Simmer, and Dion. And it's Lukowicz on along with Bob Bourne and Pep Nielsen for the Campbells. It is played by Gartner now, make that. Through past Bourne, and the Wales shoot it back to the Campbell zone. Ben Wilson on defense. Gets it up by Bourne. It's going to fly past Larson. He's in. Bourne goes to City. Oh, and a great save. Pilot fired as Bourne tried to take and then power it through. And it was broken up on a beautiful headman pass by Wilson to Bob Bourne. And he flew in on Lassard, who kept this game close for the Wales. They trailed 3-1. Bob Bourne can't get it out from Ben Wilson. Attacking along the right wing side is Taylor behind the Campbell net. Dion in there checking with Simmer in front to Taylor. A short side shot. That was flooded behind the net. Dion has it behind the net. Now to Simmer. He's got Taylor in front. Simmer puts it in front, but Bob Bourne is there to take it off and say enough of this nonsense, and ices it to take the heat off. Down into the zone. Randy Carlisle, and we get a stoppage of play. There is 12:29 remaining in the third period. With the score, the Campbell Conference 3, the Wales Conference 1.
Here's Bourne right here, and Lassard makes a great play. Actually, I looked like to me like maybe Bourne lost from up here. It looked like he lost his the puck, but
Wales attacking at the side of the net. It's pushed through to the left point. Bork looks to the net. Drive through a screen. That almost corked Randy Carlisle, and we're going to have a stoppage of play.
Hand pass.
And a hand pass. Randy Carlisle almost had his head taken off by that shot by Ricky, or by
that was
Carlisle.
Ricky Middleton in front of the net. They almost had it, but he had Dion playing out there with Middleton and Shutt, with Bork and Howe. I guess he's trying to get some... He wants to get another goal back here before the 10-minute mark, I think.
Here's that action around the Campbell goal, and then the shot from the point.
There's Marcel there.
Had the right shooter, Phil, but the wrong partially balding head. Holmgren at center ice can't control the puck, and penetrating a speed shot for the Wales. He skated off, and Holmgren now will drive it and try to drive it through at center. Gets it to Nielsen. Now they go back the other way as Bork takes it away from Billy Barber. Bork penetrates for the Wales down the right wing side. Billy Barber is there to take it away and send it out. Let's throw it center right for Holmgren. At the Campbell Wales line. Holmgren back to Barber. Short side shot to save, and Holmgren pokes the rebound. It's loose in front and cleared off on the near side by Marcel Dion. As the Campbells came close, Holmgren and Barber. Now it is stolen away from Middleton by Kent Nielsen. He's got a man in front. Babbage shot. Great save by Lassard as Babbage sped to become the first two-goal scorer of the night. Now the Campbell change line is up by Peter Stosny, right winging it to Middleton into the Campbell zone. Middleton waiting for help. Doesn't get it, and the puck is played out by Fedorko along the far side where it's tied up by Middleton and by Bob Murray.
Great action on both ends. First, Scotty Bowman put out Dion, and here's the Kent Nielsen pass to Babbage. A great save by Lassard. He stayed on his feet until Babbage committed himself to shoot the puck and then blocked that puck really nice. I can see why he has 27 victories, that kid.
Gentlemen, I don't know if you've noticed, but Bob Murray of the Campbell Conference has not made an appearance on the ice, although he's on the bench. Perhaps we'll keep track of his play. Now back comes Fedorko for the Campbells over the line. He's got Babbage cutting for the net, tries to go back to the point, the putt van. But the Campbells take it off, and Stosny up the middle to Kehoe. Kehoe at the line. The play broken up, kept in by Stosny. Gets around Ramage. He's going right out in front. And he had a stop shot for Kehoe, who had it blocked off by Ramage. And the Campbells quickly come back the other way. Play broken up by Randy Carlisle. And played by Eddie Johnson of the Campbells back to his own line. Puck van through, trying to find Fedorko, but Carlisle takes it off to Ogrodnik, the goal scorer, and up ice to Stosny. Drops to Ogrodnik. Same shot, the same slot. This time Peters was equal. Down in that far corner, Kehoe is cut off by the Campbells as Babbage brings it up to center, dumps it into the offensive left wing corner. Fedorko is there. He had Johnson breaking for the net, but it's broken up by Ray Larson of the Wales. An outlet through to Carlisle and right winging at center ice. Kehoe can't handle it as it rolls deep into the Campbell Conference zone. We're just shy of the halfway point of the third period, with the Campbell Conference leading the Wales Conference 3-1 in the 33rd National Hockey League All-Star Game. Drop pass by Kevin McCarthy. Eddie Johnson. He had two men breaking for the net. He had Bossy and Gretzky, but the play broken up, and here comes Bobby Smith up ice. He's got Gare on his right. Gamey breaking for the net. There's Bobby Smith to Gare. And the Campbell flick it up, and back comes Gretzky along with Ben Wilson and Bossy. Over the line, Wilson breaking for the net. He's in at the left side. Goes to score!
Well, I think you see a great example of the great playmaking ability of Wayne Gretzky there.
He made a...
Looked like he made a mistake and then recovered and made a great play.
That's exactly what I was going to say. He makes a mistake here. He loses a little bit, and then he just makes a super pass. But I like the way Wilson held on to this puck. He makes Lazard commit himself and banks it off the right inside of that goalpost. A good play by Wilson, and equally good play by Gretzky.
Now the Whales find themselves back by 3, and they have a 9:34 remaining in regulation play. Kevin McCarthy for the Campbells, an outlet through on the near side to Bossy, and away to center ice for Tiger Williams with Gretzky on his left into the zone, and it's broken up smartly by the Whales' Reed Larson. Ben Wilson back at his own line, gets it up ice for Kevin McCarthy, who tried to find Gretzky. Whales break that up. Loose puck at center ice. Gretzky, lead pass, through to Tiger Williams, up the middle, 1-on-3. To the right board, tries to find an open man, but it's taken away there, and up comes Bobby Smith. He's got Center on his right. Over the line, there goes Taylor, a shot from the right side. That's wide. Bork, right on in, a shot from the left circle, and Peters grabs that on the 5-hole for the stoppage of play. From the Forum in Los Angeles, this is the National Hockey League All-Star Network.
That scoring play, Ben Wilson in his first All-Star game, his first All-Star goal. Gretzky and Bossy assisting at 10:18, and it's 4-1 for the Campbell Conference with 8 minutes 54 seconds to play. Wales have never lost one of these games, but they're going to have to really put on a miraculous rally to pull this one out.
Taylor, Simmer, Dion, Bork, and Mark Howe for the Wales. Offensive left wing corner behind the net. Dion right in front is Suffer, and Peters was equal again. As the puck taken by Simmer, he's got Dion in front. That time Gartner breaks it up. As Bourne steals it, it's in front to Taylor. Back to the right point to Howe. Bouncing puck. Oh, and he hit Bob Daly up high on the shoulder. And Daly's getting up very slowly. And when you're 6'5" and 230, you do get up very slowly when you're drilled like that. Rockfan to the right side, and Daly gets it through. Cross-ice pass. Intended for Lukowicz. Broken up by Mark Howe. At center ice, Bob Bourne is stripped to the puck. And Charlie Simmer gets it up through the Campbell line. Play smothered there. Now Simmer breaks it up. Over the line, looking for help along the left wing board. Drives it across ice, and he had Dion there, but that just missed by half a stride. Mark Howe keeps it in. His carrot pass in front of the Campbell net and sent by Bob Ramage to center ice. Ray Bork for the Whales tries to penetrate, but Ramage again for the Campbell breaks the play up, and Mark Howe drills it into the Campbell zone, and they all chase. After it is Mike Rogers. Nice move around behind the net and sent through to center ice for Chet Nielsen by Potvin, but Randy Carlisle of the Whales tries to pick it off at the blue line, send it in for Middleton. There's Chet Nielsen again to pick it off from the slot, send it left side to Dennis Potvin. Up ice at the red line, dumps it into the Whale zone, and as Carlisle slapping it off the near side, Ramage will keep it in, tries to go to the net, stands on it, and it slides to center ice. And we have an offside as Billy Barber slapped it in the zone with Holmgren in there, and we get a stoppage of play. It's 4-1 Campbell over the Whales. That's the score, and we will be back to Los Angeles Forum after this message.
Guys, the roads are closed. Tomorrow's Monday. What about work?
Looks like you're just going to have to stay here and ski, Phil.
We are in Shaver City. Sitting pretty, all together in Shaver City. Sitting pretty, all together in Shaver City. We are in Shaver City.
Gene Hart along with Dan Kelly, Esposito, 4:40 remaining in regulation time. The Campbells lead the Whales 4-1. Time's a waste, and Bobby Smith stripped to the puck at the side of the Campbell net by Ben Wilson. Wraps it around to Mike Gartner, who'll come up on the right side and through to Bob Bourne. Tied up by Bobby Smith, but on second effort, pokes the puck down behind the Whales net. Taken out of that corner. Bourne, a high shot right side. Lazard gets it off the shoulder and then whacks it, highlight style, back behind the glass into the seat.
This is a good save by Mario Lazard, and he's playing well in there. He's had, 2 goals or 1 goal score. Watch his shot. Bourne shoots. He shoots a little high. Lazard makes an arm save, and then he just keeps his eye on it and knocks it up for a souvenir to the people up in the stands.
Well, Hart has played well. He's given up the 2 goals, one by Babbage and then the one by Ben Wilson, but he's played well.
Born Gartner and Lukowicz. Lukowicz, of course, too, off seasons with Winnipeg, but he can be remembered as the 65-goal scorer, Dan, in the last year of the AFCO Cup of the WHA. Gartner's shot from the right circle is wide for the Campbells. Fights for the puck, offensive corner, goes around to Lukowicz. Lukowicz dumps behind, but it turns off the deflect in the board to Randy Carlisle of the Whales. He pivots and sends it through to Dion at center with Zimmer on his left. They penetrate. Taylor breaking for the net. But Zimmer can't control the puck as he was bumped off by Kevin McCarthy, and it's wound around to the left wing side. And the Campbells' Morris Lukowicz gets it through to McCarthy at center ice. At the Wales line along the right wing side. Dumps it behind the net with 3:50 remaining in the game. Back to the point. Wilson in. Takes the shot. Dives, and it was deflected into the far corner by Dave Taylor. As Ben Wilson deked past the first man, couldn't beat the second. Zimmer up ice to the Campbell line. That was intended for teammate Taylor, but Ben Wilson again broke that up. Randy Carlisle for the Whales through at center ice. And now the Whales seem to have lost some spirit as they're passing aimlessly at center ice. Shutt now along the left side. Finds his man up the middle. Into the zone. Shutt there, a shot. Oh, and he got in tight on the left side, but hit the logo, the All-Star logo on Pete Pater's shirt, kept it away. Now Billy Barber out there with Bob Daly on the far side, but Shutt comes out with the puck to Reed Larson. A shot deflected to Bob Picard. His shot hit the outside of the net to the right of Peters and turns off Ben Wilson into the glass area behind the net for the stoppage of play with 3 minutes remaining in the game. Campbell 4, Wales 1.
Billy Barber is out there again, and he's had a lot of ice time, unusual for an All-Star game, and he had 7 shots on net in 2 periods. I don't know what he's got this period so far, but he's having a heck of a game.
I noticed that Bob Murray's back out there for the Campbell Conference team.
First shift in this period, I think, gentlemen.
I think so.
It is.
The card at the point is shot, and Peters got that left skate on it to deflect it to Barber, and he'll come away at center ice. Headmanning on the right side of the neutral zone, Nielsen. Slides to the side of the Wales net. Broken up by Picard. Outlet to Shutt and through to Rick Middleton at center ice. He overskates. Now he tries to go through to Shutt, and Bob Daly takes it off. Play in the neutral zone. Given up to Rick Middleton, stolen away by Kent Nielsen, who opened the game scoring in just the first 45 seconds that set the tone of the night for the Campbell Stars, who have led all the way. 2-0 after the first period, 3-0 after the second. The Whales got some life here in a goal by Ogrodnik, but then Ben Wilson scored to make it 4-1. Over the line, Picard. Stripped to the puck. They clear but not out. Reed Larson down behind the Campbell net. Tries to set up for Shutt, and he couldn't handle it. Oh, it's coming across the goal mouth, trying to keep it free, and Babbage almost put it in his own net. As up ice, Eddie Johnston is cut off in the Wales zone by Larson, who puts it in front of his own net. And Picard throws to Ogrodnik. Away at center ice with less than 2 minutes in the game. Ogrodnik a drive. Hit the post on the right of Peters. And Ogrodnik, who beat Peters on a drive near side, almost did it again. And then on the right side, and Peters Sosny tests Peters, who grabs to the 5-hole for the stoppage of play. An unusual post from that distance, Phil.
It is. Peters seems to be favoring, like he's leaning to his left a little bit. Here's, this is the one with Shutt. He misses the puck here. Babbage almost gets his second goal. Hit the goal post. Wow.
Did you ever do that?
Oh, did I ever do that? I did it in an All-Star game in overtime. I was right in my own net.
That was in Buffalo, right?
That's right.
1978, 79.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
That was the only All-Star game to go in overtime. 1:40 remaining here.
Well, I have the distinction of ending it.
Stay with us at the end of the game. Dan Kelly downstairs for the selection and the meeting of this year's All-Star MVP. Taken off by Sosny, sent through to Ray Bork at center ice. He's got Rick Kehoe way down that right side. Pass misfires, goes down behind the Campbell net where Peters winds it up right side for Wayne Babbage. Babbage an outlet pass. Through, and he's got Johnstone at center ice, who's had 2 assists. Broken up and sent back in the Wales zone, but don't play there. And Kehoe outlet so far to Sosny as the puck again in on Peters. Sweeps to his left. In there is Howe along with Puckman, but Sosny gets it in front. Bork a shot. And I don't know how Peters got that right skate on it, but kept it away in a glorious save as we have 1 minute remaining in the 33rd annual National Hockey League All-Star Game from the Forum in Los Angeles. Gene Hart along with Phil Esposito and Dan Kelly. As Bork now through on the left side, drives, and Peter steers to the near side. Ogrodnik down into that offensive left wing corner. Behind the net to Rick Kehoe. He's got a man in front, tries to come out for a stopper, and he shot wide on the blockage. And out comes Gretzky at center ice. He's got Fossey on his right, into the zone, drive, and he wanted that one himself. You can see it from end to end. Puck back to the left wing. Ben Wilson chips went behind the net as he got under it on the butterfly. They drive it in front, does Gretzky, but nobody there. And out come the Wales with 20 seconds left in the game, and the Campbells are finally going to break that 0 for 5 jig. Along the near side, Langway penetrates. Gare waits for the net. In front to Ogrodnik. Shot blocked beautifully along the near side by Tiger Williams. By Kevin McCarthy make that 6 seconds left in the game. And it comes to center and hits the scoreboard atop the form, and that may be a most apropos way to have 2 seconds remaining in the game as we look at a disconsolate Mario Lessard, who wanted this one very badly for the home folks here in Los Angeles.
You know what, Gene? I'm watching. You know who else had a great game, I think, is Kevin McCarthy. I think he's played extremely well for the Campbell Conference, and if we were picking 3 stars, he'd be one of my stars.
Well, I tell you, that stings Keith Allen, because in the need 3 years ago for some offensive help, he traded McCarthy to Vancouver. Not only is he an all-star, but he's the Canucks team leader and captain. Billy Barber, by the way, was named the captain tonight. 9 years longevity in the league, and he certainly played that role well. There's the face-off, and the game is over. That's it. The final score. The Campbell Conference All-Stars 4, the Wales Conference All-Stars 1. We'll be right back with Dan Kelly, the MVP of the 33rd Annual NHL All-Star Game. The MVP nominee to receive a Toyota Supra in honor of his performance tonight. Bill, make a pick before they announce it.
Billy Barber.
Okay. That'll please Jenny Barber back in Philadelphia. All right, let's go down now to Dan Kelly on ice.
Okay, Gene Hart and Phil Esposito, thank you very much. It is my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the National Hockey League, to present a new 1981 Toyota Celica Supra to tonight's most valuable player as voted by the Professional Hockey Writers Association. The 33rd National Hockey League All-Star Game's most valuable player is goaltender Mike Liut of the St. Louis Blues. I would like now, as Mike comes down, to turn the microphone over to Mr. Jim Press, Toyota's National Advertising Manager. Jim?
Thank you. Mike, on behalf of Toyota Motor Sales and the more than 1,400 Toyota dealers throughout the United States and Canada, we'd like to present you this new Celica Supra. It's only fitting. The best player has the best. Thank you very much for a great game.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim. Stay right here, Michael. Mike Liut, the most valuable player for the Campbell Conference and in the 33rd All-Star Game from the St. Louis Blues. Mike, it's your first All-Star Game. You played brilliantly in the first 32 or so minutes of the game. You have to be just thrilled.
I still don't know what I'm doing here, Dan. Told me to show up, and I came and played, and it's just unbelievable. I can't believe this is happening.
Mike, you faced a lot of shots in games in regular season play with the NHL with the St. Louis team. What about an All-Star game? You're facing all the great shooters in the game. Was this different?
Well, it's a lot different. If you don't stop them, they make you look pretty bad. And it's so many great shooters that I just tried to come to the game and relax as best I could and go out there and just try and stop the puck.
You, in the time you were in the game, the Wales outshot you people 25-11. You left the game having shut out the opposition, and that's all a pretty good night's work.
Well, I'm just glad I had all that help, and it worked out. It worked out all right.
Mike, thank you very much for visiting with us. Congratulations. Give me a ride in your car sometime.
All right, Dan.
Mike Liut, the goaltender for the Campbell Conference and the winner of the Toyota Celica Supra. Now, back upstairs to Gene Hart and Phil Esposito.
Thank you, Dan Kelly. Phil Esposito and I will be back to recap the game from the Forum in Los Angeles with the final score, the Campbells 4, the Wales 1. This is the National Hockey League Network.
This is one of the better ones I've ever seen. And Jerry Buss and the rest of the Los Angeles people should be commended on an excellent, excellent show. Last night, Alan Thicke, who produced it, and an excellent hockey game and an excellent, just the whole atmosphere was terrific.
Well, you know, a lot of comments about bringing diggers who are non-scorers into a game like this. Tiger Williams, John Ogrodnik, Paul Holmgren, Tiger Williams, Eddie Johnstone, and yet they played an integral role in the performance tonight for both clubs.
Well, I can tell you, like Eddie Johnstone got 2 assists. I thought he played extremely well. He killed both penalties, he and Billy Barber, and scored on one. And the other guys, Ogrodnik scored a goal, but he's a pretty good goal scorer. He's got 27 or 28 goals now. But listen, the coach has his opportunity to pick who he wants. It's his decision, and obviously Pat Quinn made the right choices because, I mean, although they didn't dominate in the shots, they played well.
You know, it's interesting. You have all-stars, and yet Gretzky didn't play a prominent role in tonight's game, nor did the Triple Crown line. And we get names like Eddie Johnstone, Paul Holmgren, Ben Wilson getting key goals, and Mike Liut coming up with an extraordinary game.
Well, usually in all-star games, it just seems that the guys that are scoring a lot of goals during the course of a season never really put out as much as they should, I suppose, in an all-star game. I know I've been involved in quite a few of them, and I think I got 1 or 2 goals in all-star competition.
You got 3 and 2 assists, I checked, in 10 games. 2 penalty minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Phil, this is your first broadcasting assignment since your retirement. It's been my honor, after admiring your career all those years, to have done it with you, and along with Dan Kelly, who certainly is preeminent in North America as play-by-play and longtime voice of the Blues. Thank you very much.
Listen, I've enjoyed it, and I hope we get to work again, Gene. And good luck to you, Philadelphia Flyers.
Thanks all of you for watching. We hope to see you again next year for the 34th Annual All-Star Game from Washington. Final score from the Forum in Englewood, California, the Campbell Conference 4, the Wales Conference 1. This is Gene Hart from the Forum. Good night. Good hockey.